Kids don't forget.
Kids don't forget.
You kids don't forget.
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 Kids don't forget. Kids don't forget.
Shawn, what's up, baby?
Nothing much. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy that you're here. Happy that you could make it out today. So,
It's good to be here.
did I pronounce your name correctly? Is it Shawn?
Yes,
Let's hear you say it.
Shawn.
Has your name ever been mispronounced in the history of your life?
Not that I know of, no.
Nobody's
to
accidentally
me.
called you like
Shawn.
Shane?
No, Shawn.
Shawn, good.
Last name, somehow people get Thomas instead of Thompson.
Right.
But Shawn is always Shawn Thompson. That's
Okay.
pretty simple.
You've never experienced the agony that I've had to endure my entire life.
No.
Like
No.
my name is most mispronounced Kali. Like people think my name is Kali, but it's not Kali, it's Kali.
Yes.
But I get Kali, Khalil, Keenan, Kylie, Kaylee. Like any way you can Cowley, any way you can mispronounce it. So Shawn, nobody's ever mispronounced that.
No, it's pretty
Have you
easy.
met a lot of other Shawns in your life growing up?
Yes. A lot.
A lot.
Different spelling, same pronunciation.
What is your spelling?
SHAWN.
Okay. Did you have any nicknames growing up?
Shawnee.
Shawnee. Okay.
Probably the only nickname.
Who would have called you that? Who would have known to call you that?
Shawnee was a childhood nickname.
Okay.
Nobody, unless you were family or close family friend, you wouldn't know to call me Shawnee. Like even my close friends growing up, it wasn't Shawnee.
Okay.
Pretty much it was only family, and
You also said some of your old coaches used to call you that.
coaches. So older family friends, usually my for example, my first ever legit job with benefits and everything was through a family friend,
Okay.
Coach Bird, and he called me Shawnee for like the first few weeks at work.
Right.
And then finally, I guess somebody commented on it. He said, he brought me aside, like, hey, do you mind if he pulled me aside, do you mind if I call you Shawnee? Which do you prefer, Shawn or Shawnee? I'm like, it don't matter, but Shawn is good. so it don't really make me no difference. But like usually it's the older my coaches,
right,
from who knew me since I was young.
Okay.
And family.
But nobody your age really calls you that.
Nobody my age, and nobody anymore.
Okay.
Unless a cousin, an older cousin will pop up. I have older cousins who, when they come around, I'm still Shawnee.
Got it.
And that's cool.
So when they come around, speaking of when they come around, where are you from?
I'm from Camden, New Jersey.
Okay. Any particular section?
The Fairview section.
The Fairview section. Any
Yes.
particular block?
I'm from Denfield Street.
Denfield Street.
Yeah.
Okay. How would you describe Denfield Street and Fairview like growing up?
Denfield growing up, describing it now, when I was growing up, I would think like Family Street. We had our foolishness out there. We had a lot of activity. It seemed like during the day everything was cool, but at night, you had to really, you had to know what was going on. It was, a lot of drug activity, stuff like that.
Okay.
But back then I didn't really think anything of it. Now looking at it from an adult, it's like, it's pretty much, if you're not involved in nothing, most you catching is something random.
Right.
Some random danger that you might get in that's sporadic, but nobody bothers you. Like I don't, I ride through there now. I don't know anybody out there.
Right.
But I don't feel unsafe.
Okay.
But also, I'm not going to go through a jog through my old block just for the heck of it. You know what I mean?
So given that you grew up there and you pretty much know that area very well, would you raise your kids there? Would you raise your kids on Denfield Street?
I would not raise my kids on Denfield Street.
Okay.
And I guess for a few different reasons. My biggest reason is just property, like location, space. Like we had a corner property, so we had a yard.
Okay.
We had it was a 3-bedroom house, 2-bedroom with a den, and it was a lot of us. But even with my family is smaller, it's just I wouldn't raise them mainly because I don't know, just growing up and seeing things different. For example, we take them back when I go now. We still own the house and rent it out.
Okay.
And the kids come and help me clean up and prepare the house, paint, whatever. And I can just see in their face like they're confused by the activity what's going on. And I'm not talking like drug activity. I'm just talking the kids, running and talking different, and the cursing.
Right.
It's just a different atmosphere.
Okay.
Like where we're at now is where we're at specifically, is more quiet. But so I wouldn't do it because I don't have to, but
right.
There were a lot of benefits to
growing up on
Denfield, yeah.
Like what?
Like, getting to see real life.
Right. I can tell everybody, when you grow up in the hood on one block, there's so many personalities.
Yeah. It's so many personalities, and you kind of, you learn how to move through life better. You learn how to, you just learn how to deal better with life situations. You can't walk around talking and acting a certain way and without thinking you're going to get challenged.
Right.
On talking foolishness and stuff like that. But for the most part,
So from your point of view, growing up in the hood is kind of like a gift and a curse at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You never know who's going to move next door to you. You have no control over that. Like, it's just...
Yeah, I mean, well, even like now, like, I don't know who's going to move next door to me now, but the chance of it being, like, back in the day, like, growing up in Camden, we just happen to have a senior neighbor for, I think, my whole time living there.
Okay.
But anybody can move in next to you. It could get turned into a drug spot just like that.
Yep.
But not particularly on our street.
Okay.
Our street was, we had a lot of older people who owned. It was,
So, were you an only child?
I was not an only child.
Okay. How many siblings did you have?
I have 9 brothers and sisters.
So you are the opposite of an
I'm the
only
opposite
child.
of an only child.
Are you the oldest, the youngest? Where are you?
I'm the third. I have 2 older brothers.
Okay, so you're third. So
yes.
you're not even the middle child.
I'm not even the middle.
I don't even know how you would describe yourself. You're not the oldest, you're not the youngest, you're not the middle child.
I think I got to be the middle child for a short period.
Yeah, you were the middle child at some point.
Yeah, at some point. But yeah.
So 9 siblings. How many brothers?
9 siblings. I have 5 brothers and 4 sisters.
Okay. Was there ever a point where all 10 of you lived in the house together?
I think there was. I'm pretty sure the youngest was born in 95.
Okay, so you were, what, 15?
So I was 15, and that's when my oldest brother was probably either there or in between college. So close enough. It was like,
Okay.
I want to say he might have been back and forth home. He might have been away to school by then.
So let's break it down. If you're 15 years old, let's try to name your siblings. So we talked about this. So if you're 15, that means you have a 20-year-old brother.
Yes.
He's the oldest.
Yep.
You have you're 15. You have a 17-year-old brother who's 2 years older than you.
So if I'm 15, I have
20.
I'm gonna stay close to. So I have 16.
Right. Oh yeah, you're right. And he's 19.
And then I'll say the oldest is probably 18 or 19, depending on when. But he's
okay.
I remember his 4 years apart because 7-11, and because when I was a freshman, he was a senior.
Right. So we got to do 16. Let's pretend you're 16 years old.
So 16.
If you're 16, your oldest brother is 20. And you got a brother who's right over you who's 17.
Yes.
You got a brother who's right under you who's 14.
Yes.
Do you have a sister who's right under him?
Yep.
Who's 12. And
who's 13.
Okay, 13.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're a year apart.
Yeah.
Okay. You have another sister who's right under her. So if she's 13, then your next sister is 11.
Yes.
Okay. And that's the top 6.
They're going to see this and possibly see how wrong I am. I'm right on how many of us there are. But
Right,
yeah, but
right.
that's the top 6.
The top 6.
Yeah.
So you guys were together for a while, and then in the end, your parents had 4 more kids, 1 set of twins.
Yes.
Right. So when you were 16, they would be 4, 2, and the twins would be 1.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that.
You got to tell us, what was that like growing up in a house with 9 siblings?
I mean, honestly, it was fun.
Really?
Like, I feel bad for only, for people who grew up the only child.
Right.
Never had to look for anybody to go outside to play. Never needed somebody to play catch with. Never needed you can't walk to the store by yourself. Somebody got to walk with you. Oh, I got multiple choices. Oh, you don't want to go, or you go.
Right.
So it's fun, constant fun.
Okay.
Constant excitement. Like,
now let's talk about the oldest 4. 20, 17, 16, and 14. So that's 3 brothers you had who were always with you.
yes.
So am I to guess that growing up in the hood, you had no problems?
We didn't. Mainly because we were cool. We didn't have those issues.
Right.
We weren't really into anything, but just growing up in the hood, just because you get into things, and we still never had those issues. Like, we moved together.
Right.
Any issues, if you got a problem with one of us, it's a family thing. So we didn't really have we didn't get into that many big family conflicts. We never had that many issues, but we always rolled deep.
Right. Right. Automatically.
Yeah, it was some funny neighborhood instances where I really remember, like, I had 2 older brothers where I remember, like, gosh, like, I feel bad for y'all with no family. Like, where everybody around you start brawling.
Right.
We playing like a football game. Everybody around you start brawling, and nobody's touching any of my brothers, and we're just walking home. And we just, like, reach for each other, like, where's he? And then we start walking home, and then,
Right.
And you didn't leave, you don't feel like you left your team hanging because it was a fight. The game was over. I actually remember this day, but that was kind of like one of the instances where, like, brothers was like, oh, we good. Let's just walk.
You never think about it from the viewpoint of your parents. Your mother, in particular, had to feel so good when you guys left the house. Like, she knew all 4 of you were together.
Yeah, I would think so.
She's not worried about her. Like you said, an only child, a mom always worried about her son. She knows all 4 of you are together.
Yeah.
That's bananas.
And we usually couldn't go anywhere unless
somebody
was
with you.
with us. So,
Okay,
yeah.
interesting.
So.
Now, being that the oldest four are all boys, were you personally very protective of your little sisters?
Yes, but I think just naturally, like, I mean, our sister. First of all, our sister, the first girl,
Right.
was following 4 boys, so she was tough.
Okay.
So the problem with her was she's getting in our friend's face, like she's one of us.
Right.
But she was
Right.
tough, so, like, we was protective of her, but we didn't really have too many issues. Like, I gotta say, like, and not because it's, obviously me and my family, but we didn't really have those issues. Like, we didn't try people. We didn't flex because we had numbers or size.
Right. Like some families in Camden do.
It's families out there that, as soon as something happened, their family is showing up
Right.
at the school deep.
Right. Exactly.
We didn't really have those issues. So we kind of moved a certain way and didn't run into those problems. But as far as, like, our sisters, I think people pretty much knew. Like, you didn't have to, that's not really a something you had to announce. Like,
Right.
right. And that's a forever thing. That's you always protective of your sisters.
Now, that's crazy. So you said you were never lonely, never bored, never knocked on a door to have somebody come outside and play.
Yeah, I don't ever recall me having to go look for anybody. Like, you bored, I need somebody. If we was gathering people, it was to fill up a team to go play football. Like, gathering up people to go play football down at the middle school, something like that. But other than that, like, I didn't have to knock on the door to find somebody to ride a bike with.
Right.
Or shoot a basketball with or play catch with. So
You just naturally had it.
we just had it. So
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy because it's not a lot of people who can say, I have 9 siblings.
Yeah.
Okay. So am I to assume that you grew up with both parents
Yes.
the whole time?
The whole time. Both parents.
Extreme rarity. And you
That's
mentioned
usually
that
the first question.
the first question is, do all 10 of you have the same mom and dad?
Yes.
Which is true.
Yes.
All 10 of you have the same mom and dad. That's
Yes.
another huge rarity.
Yes.
You might have a mom who has 3 kids and like 2 of them don't have the same dad. So that is banana, or the same mom.
Yeah.
So that's another rarity growing up in the hood where all 10 of you, first of all, it's 10 of you.
Yeah,
that's rare in
That's
itself.
a rarity in itself.
In
Yeah.
itself. And then second of all 10 of you have the same mom and dad.
Yes.
That's bananas.
Yes.
In your personal opinion, being that you grew up in the hood, pretty rough neighborhood, do you think that because you grew up with both parents that you had like some sort of advantage at life over like some of your friends who they live with their grandmom or just their mom, or maybe in rare instances just their dad?
Well, I definitely think that we had an advantage because of our specific parents. Not that they were together, not that they were both at the household, but that they were, that they worked together, and that it wasn't a violent household. It wasn't just because we have 2 parents, that's not what I think made it.
Okay.
I think the fact that our 2 parents worked together well and, had what we saw was a happy relationship, a healthy relationship. They were always in sync with our discipline. Because 2 parents could go bad.
Right. You got in a lot of cases, you got the drunk dad beating the crap out of your
Yeah.
mom, and you're witnessing that, and there's nothing you can do because you're a little kid.
Yeah. So,
Right.
So I think we were fortunate because our parents are the way they were.
They didn't have a toxic
They
relationship.
didn't have a toxic relationship. They, you couldn't use even 2 parents. You couldn't use mom to get something you didn't want. You couldn't go to like, oh, dad said no, let me go to mom. Like you knew right away. If you go and ask one and they found out you already asked, you was in trouble. So little stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, as far as
So being that it was 10 of y'all, do you feel like you were able to have a personal relationship with both of them?
yeah.
All right, so let's go. What was you pick who you want to start with? What was your relationship with either your mom or your dad?
Well, it's funny. So I guess my mom was. I'll start with my mom because it was like.
What's her name?
My mom's name is Esther.
Shout out to Miss Esther.
So everybody somehow always got their time. Like mine is kind of funny. So we took a lot of family rides, and I'm gonna do both of them first.
Okay.
And whenever we rode around, we had our van, we had our high top, or we had whatever kind of van. Always had a station wagon too, but always a big car, and still never enough seats. And I always somehow was able to get my seat on my knees in between the driver and the passenger seat.
Okay.
So I got my personal parent, hanging with my mom and dad, even though it's a whole car full of people.
Right.
And we're riding like maybe the
You were always in the gap in
I'm on
between
my
the two
knees
parents.
riding for an hour just so I can have like my time.
Okay.
And I don't know how that became my spot. Nobody ever tried to, that I recall. Like I'm sure at some point we might have been beefing in the house and it took to the car and they tried to take my spot.
Right.
But nobody ever like bothered me about it. That was like my spot.
Okay.
And I think now like how patient they could have been, because like me now, if my kids are leaning up on
Right.
and you're talking when you look, like I was right there. I'm handing out stuff, snacks or whatever. I'm like, so that was the joint thing that I can remember. But like individually, my mom, like she was